Broadcasting, it's Shirley with Spirit of Matter. And the episode is with the ascendant ruled by Mercury. Mercury on the 29th degree of Virgo. It's Mercury hour. It's already the night of Sol, the night of the sun, with the sun in the sixth house. In Libra, Mercury in the fifth. Midheaven is ruled by Saturn, that's in the 10th house. And the descendant by Jupiter in the 12th house. Pluto in the 8th house. And Mars ruling the 6th in the 5th. Venus ruling Mars and the Sun in the 3rd house, in Leo. And the Moon in the 1st house, squaring Neptune and Mercury. So, what's this episode about? This episode is about the combination of houses in a given natal chart as it relates to how you make your money, what you spend your money on, how you are as an employee and how you are as an employer, and who are your employees, and the inherent structure of dissonances, harmony and discord between the 1st, 2nd, 6th, 10th and 12th houses. Let's begin with the 1st house. Well, the 1st house is you. The 1st house is the first impression that you make. But if you go to traditional astrology, not ancient, but traditional astrology, the ascendant is you. The ruler of the ascendant is your chart's ruler. Okay, in this case, it's Mercury in the 5th in Virgo, opposing Neptune. Separation from opposition to Neptune. In a more modern view, the ascendant, or the 1st house and its ruler, is the first impression that you make person to person. Okay? The 10th house and or the midheaven is the first impression that you make as a public persona. When I see you in a position where you run this show, what do I see? Now, the 10th house squares the 1st house. So unless the rulers, here for every sign there's a ruler, the planet ruling it, unless the rulers have like a sextile or a trine, and maybe even a conjunction, there is an inherent tension between who you are when I meet you in person and who you are when I watch you on a podcast, or when you're my boss, if it's the 10th house. But the 10th house is also our parents. It can be father or mother, depending on the interpretation. Who you are as a boss, who you are as a parent. What is your relationship with your parent? We got clues from the 4th and 10th axis. The square relations is a tension that you just need to live with. When I meet people person to person, just that first impression is something, one thing comes out of me. When I give a performance or give a talk, there's something else coming out of me. Okay? Again, unless if you got like the ruler of the first in the 10th, you can get a little bit of a what you see is what you get. With the person, you know, these people are like, I saw this person on television, then one day I ran into him in the street, you won't believe it. It's the same exact person. The same exact it's like what you see is what you get. Okay, I have Jupiter ruling both my ascendant and my midheaven in the 11th house. A lot of what you'll see in person for me will be what you get. Not all of it. There are other things involved, but yeah. I might not make the first impression of a revolutionary, which allows me to get into jobs. What happens later is history, simply put, or her story, in the case of, never mind. So, this is just one inherent tension. Now, let's say you come to a job interview to be a manager. So, manager is the 10th house, is the boss of someone. Job interviewer, okay, a part of it, because you come to your 10th, or to talk about the 10th, a part of you will be of the 10th. But as you enter the room, however much you put the 10th house in you, or your attire, your this, or you might even try to dress up in a particular way, but the person who sees you, they see you person to person. Now that person to person is going to matter upon your first impression with the people that you meet. One-on-one, but that's it. Okay. Now they want to try and get to know you. Who are you when you're a boss? They have to recreate an image in an environment that doesn't support this image. Now what happens? You're not authentically you because you're authentically you. And they are seeing you with a suit and tie or whatever, and they believe they got the person for the job. And they ask you some questions, some this, some that. They probe into your psyche and give you this, solve these equations for me and whatnot. And you have your CV there, you're sort of like a stand-up person. They hire you. Now you get to the job, and as you are practicing as the boss, your 10th house comes into play. For real, for real. Now, if you don't have the ruler of your first house in your 10th house, then some of that things appeared at the job interview, but most of them didn't. Most of them did not. And there's another person there that they did not hire. Okay, you have to understand this. And that's an inherent tension that no CV, no group dynamic, because what are they going to give you to do? To manage these people, to manage those people? Maybe slightly. Because if you got a couple of managers being elected for the same job, you give them to manage each other. It's not. They're in the 6th house. They're not in the 10th house. They're not a boss. They're in the 6th house trying to prove themselves and compete. And so you hire the best person according to their 6th house, shall soon talk about. They get to the job, they end up at the 10th. What do you do? Or you got hired, but you got hired based on your 6th house quality. Now you're a boss. No. You're a great boss, but is it what they were looking for? You show these qualities in the 6th house, but can you show them in the 10th house? No, it's not natural to you. Why? Because the 10th house, even though it trines the 6th house, is not the 6th house. It's a trine relations, it's harmonious relations, which is good. You're supposed to have harmonious relations between a boss and employees, but you're the boss now, you're not the employees. So they can have a bit of a role reversal when you actually start the job. Okay. Now, what is the 6th house? Well, 6th house is your pets, is your physical health, your routines to maintain your physical health, your service to the world, and also you as an employee and your employees. If you don't get that you as an employee is your employees, you got nothing out of this episode. Every person that starts a company, starts a business, okay, you do everything in the beginning, or you do the certain things you chose to do, which is what I do. And then you grow. You say, now I'm going to hire some people to do what I don't like doing as much, so I can focus on my shine zone. It's not a bad idea, but your employees are you as an employee. This is where a lot of businesses that hire for the first time get it. Not good. Because the thought from a managerial point of view is a very logical thought. I'm going to focus on my shine zone and get somebody else to do it that likes doing that. I'm going to focus on speaking to you and get somebody that likes to do coordination and filming me speaking to you, with me being the director, to do that. But the thing is that my shine zone is my employees' shine zone. And this is where we need to be starting to think creatively on where to bring those other employees that are passionate about doing other things from. One way is to partner up with a person that has a different ascendant. And so their employees, the 6th house, them as an employee, complements yours. And so you're a business owner, there's another business owner that has employees, okay? Let's say you're running a podcast. You're running a podcast, say, I'm going to be the leading voice of this. I'm going to run the topics. I need a research person. Okay. Now that other person, your partner, okay, they don't like the shine zone. They don't like the cameras. They don't like to have their voice heard. In general, if they could live in a box, untended to, and just be the mastermind of getting the information, editing the information, getting somebody's like editing the information, looking for stuff, having the back and forth, kind of be the mastermind of this creation, where you're the spokesperson who is a part of the concept. Okay? And get the dividends for that. If you get yourself an ascendant partner that likes that, that was what they were doing. Now they have a company of people who do that, and their employees is that what they were as an employees. It's not going to be in their ascendant, it's going to be on their 6th house. If you have another ascendant that you'd have another 6th house. Now you get them to do the job for this person. You hire this company as a contractor that is a partner with you. You see, it's like, okay, it's not a contractor, it's you partner up with them. You create a 7th house relation. Okay, you partner up with them. Their employees are going to work for them. Your employees are going to work for you if you have any. Okay, let's see what to have other leading voices on the podcast. But again, if your shine zone is kind of like, Leo, like in my case, it's the sun, probably you're one person showing that, because people are not going to get the, the co-starring spot with this one. Not for long. Okay, they're going to leave you very soon after because they want to have their own show, which is fair enough. So this is one way you could get a genuine cooperation working. So you bring it from your 7th house. What is the 7th house? Is your partner, marital, business, or enemy. Okay? So your 1st house is opposing your 7th house. You are in 12 o'clock from each other. When you say, oh, you have that in 12 o'clock from you, what do you mean? Be careful, make a detour. Just do something. Something's coming up 12 o'clock from you. Then in your 12 o'clock, you need to go the other way. You need to go somewhere that you won't collide. That's your marriage partner. Okay, but this collision is sexy. This collision is captivating. This collision is conflictual. But this collision is also derivative and creative in nature. And so the 6th house, which is you and an employee and your employees, it has an angle to your 1st house, which is called the inconjunct. Now, the way I like, if somebody, if the 7th house is 12 o'clock from you, okay, you think about you're looking directly ahead. Okay? When they teach you to see auras, they teach you to soften your gaze, keep looking straight, soften your gaze, and start noticing what's at the sides of your vision. Okay, what is in the sides of your eye? When you look straight, you soften your gaze, and you start seeing what's in the sides of the 7th. That would be the 6th house and the 8th house. Those are the inconjunct houses. Okay, to be able to see those, you're not going to see them in the way that you see what's 12 o'clock from your gaze. Right? Either they're going to be blurry, or they're going to be like an aura, they're going to be like an energy. And you're not going to be, it takes a different type of focus to get into them. Jewel from Truth in Aspect Astrology describes the inconjunct, the 150 degrees angle, as something needs to be sacrificed to get there. Okay, so if you think about it vision-wise, you're looking 12 o'clock from you, you're keeping the direction, but you soften your gaze so that you can see what's in the size, what's the aura of that object 12 o'clock from you, and that's the 6th and the 8th. That's the inconjunct. Okay, what you sacrifice is the clarity of vision. When you think about your two eyes, what you receive in return is a different kind of observation. Sixth house is also your pet. Okay. And if you think about the pet, say I have a golden retriever. Okay, think about the pet. Have a golden retriever. Either you're going to work and make the money to buy them a couple of acres, but it's not going to be enough because they're very social dogs. So you're either going to have to be networking with the neighbors or get yourself a couple of dogs, because that's the feature of it's not a bug, it's a feature. Okay, for a golden retriever, it's a social dog. They're going to be as friendly with the burglar as they are friendly with you. And I know that because I invaded some property, some garden, because the golden retriever was playing with a ball and kind of playing fetch with me. So I entered and started playing with the golden retriever. Then the father comes with a child, looking at me. I'm looking at them. It's like he wanted to play. Then I asked them if they seen, some shelter or something like that, because I was in between houses. Okay? But that's a golden retriever. It's not the best watchdog, but it could definitely divert the burglar from doing anything harmful because it's just so jovial. Can't get angry next to them. Okay. So you're either going to have to be able to afford the acres and take into account this dog is sociable. So you sacrifice attention. It's not all eyes on you. It's all eyes on you. But if there's some other person, then they want to get petted. They want to, play fetch. They want to do stuff. And another thing that happens is, if you can't afford the acres, you're going to have to walk your doggy. And these dogs need some exercise. Now, you get fit. If you look at it that way, then it's not a sacrifice. They keep me fit. They keep me happy. But what do dogs do when they walk? Take a walk. Okay? They see a pile of crap. They like to either eat it, smear their entire fur in it, preferably both. Okay? So you just walk your doggy, now you're going back. Doesn't matter that you have to run through your day. You must take them to the shower. Or take them to find some place where they, where they're not going to do it. It's very difficult. Those are one of the instances of having this cute dog. They're also marketed as a nanny dog. They can be after years of training. And now, this pet, which is the sixth house, okay, it's incredibly beautiful. Okay? And there's a lot of sacrifice that goes into raising that pet. The sacrifice, though, in return, brings you good health. You walk your dog, you're staying physically active, you are in service for your pet, and your pet is in service of you. And so you can get to have this connection. This is actually good for your well-being. This is why growing a pet is good also for your wealth. You're caring for something, and then, because you're caring for something, then opportunities open up to you and doors open up to you, and you're willing to make that sacrifice, and you are a happier person. Okay, if the rulers are in a good place and so on and so forth. But pet is usually remedial for people. Now replace pet with you as an employee. Okay, you sign a contract to be somebody's employee. You are the golden retriever. You sign a contract to get an employee. They are the golden retriever. Okay? They are going to stroll around in flocks and smell each other's bumhole and roll around in poop, or the equivalent of it, in the same acres that you purchased for them to have a nice, spacious workplace for their neurodivergent energy source. Speaking as that golden retriever, okay? That speaks for me. Golden retriever is a very Leo dog. I got Leo in the 6th with the sun in the 3rd and Taurus, mind you. So, when you think usually about having employees, you are not thinking about having to care for a golden retriever. And they're going to get all the praise, all the attention, all the shine. Why? Because they wiggled around their tail 3 times and barked when you asked them to. Now they want a treat. And it doesn't matter that they've learned this trick 30 years ago. Okay, that's the 6th house. A lot of people don't get it. All people don't get it. I didn't get it until today. So I was thinking about this all night, and it was my 6th house, and I'm thinking of this and work and this and that. The economic situation, this situation, that situation. And so mostly people expect that when they hire employees, the employees are going to do the job. And for some people expect them to go above and beyond. And, and you will be able to leave them and they'll do the job and everything will be fine. Okay. Now here's an interesting thing. Between the 10th house, that is you as a boss or your boss, and the 6th house is you and an employee or your employees, there is a triangulations. Okay, it's not an opposition. Between you and your boss, there's a square. Between your employees and their boss, in your chart, there's a trine. What does that mean? Okay. You are their boss. You are their boss. You like them. You want them to be in good health. Okay, granted that the rulers are okay and that the house is okay. Healthy. Okay, it's a triangulation. You like them. They help you do your job. They fetch things for you. You can concentrate on the things that you shine at in your 10th house. And what they like to do is just what you like to do when you were an employee. Now, where does that work? Where does that work? When does that work? When does that work? That works when, let's say, you gave astrological readings. Okay, let's say you have the ruler of the 7th in your 10th, the ruler of your 10th in your 7th, one-on-one, give astrological readings. And you've been giving them for a while, and every once in a while, half a year or so, you can book yourself a reading. But now, there are other things you like to do. You've been through doing that, and now you're forwarding into your 10th, basically. You really loved giving readings to people, and now it's kind of like there's more that I want to do. I want to paint paintings with the spirit of the stars, and I won't be able to, available for readings. And now there are people, younger people, that really love doing what I used to really love doing. Let's give them their shine zone. While I am learning to paint the world with the stars, which later I will be able to deliver to the people who follow through this path. Okay, this works fantastically. When does it not work? Okay, let's say you are a painter. So I love painting. Now, I would paint the details of the cosmic sky and leave the entire background to my employees, while I come back to create the fine lines around the background and then the shiny stars. Okay, I get the sparkle. I get to give the sparkle. I call it my painting. That's what, if you know Da Vinci, then he was painting such a work. He was just supposed to paint 2 tiny angels for Verrocchio. So Verrocchio had this huge painting, and Da Vinci was supposed to paint 2 tiny angels. But the thing is that Da Vinci had a great observation, tremendous tenderness, soft hand, and the signature of a star that was very distinct from Verrocchio and seemed to usurp him. Okay? That's what you're running into when you haven't been done with painting these pictures. You take an employee too soon, You're not done with your shine zone. Okay, this is why, to bring about the idea of, and I'm thinking also about myself, okay, a lot of things I like doing and so on and so forth, but here I choose to focus on my voice delivering my thought. Would it not be more beautiful if you could see the chart of the moment with the picture of me and somebody doing my makeup and somebody doing the photo shooting? And I like doing each and every one of these things, but here I focused on that. To some degree, maybe, because I used to do that. When I was doing filmmaking in high school, I would do everything. Everything. Now I'm tired. Okay? So if there are young people that are very inspired to learn the craft of moving the camera, and they might reignite my own passion to do so as well. But I might do it for their videos. And I even keep the child spirit alive. I might film for their videos, they might film for my videos. And so on and so forth. Then that could work. But let's say I really did only have this, I just want to, have, my voice and my face, and then with my content, and then people doing like the rest of it. Okay, I would need to partner up in equal relations, also business-wise, okay, with people that bring in their sixth house. If I do it through the seventh, then also it's fair business-wise, because they're not only receiving the credit, they're also receiving the dividends. And we're equal partners. Okay? So they could either have Pisces ascendant, I'm Virgo in my life, okay? I need a person to take care of the tiny details, to do the coordinations. And so this person could be, I would need to partner up with the person, but in such a way, that I'm taking you to the beginning of this episode, that whoever they are hiring is coming from their sixth house, whichever their ascendant is. Okay, they'll have probably Virgo qualities because they are my seventh. But they will have their own sixth house. Whichever their ascendant is, they have their own sixth house. And maybe that sixth house is Virgo. Okay, maybe that. Or we have multiple. But here it is the seventh. Okay, so partner up with one person and then have the complementary things coming up. So their employees are going to work for them. They're going to get the money from them. So everything's going to be separate also business-wise, because we're keeping it as their sixth house. Okay? And maybe what my employee is going to do, maybe someone's going to have a spot on the show. It's their shine zone. And they're bringing in kind of like their spotlight. And eventually they're going to grow into their own channel or their own stuff, or maybe they already have their own channel or their own stuff. They're having kind of like a place in my chart or a place in my show. But even that will have to be highly considered, because everybody likes their shine zone, right? Everybody likes what you are shining. You like to be the face of your show and keep that. So now you see that the thought that, let's say I have a business, and a business out of your second or your third house, you see the business, and in that business, I want to hire employees to do the job that I don't like doing so much, with hopefully finding a match that they do like doing that, or at least are okay with doing that, is way more difficult than it seems, because you already need to partner up very soon along the process. And it's not a bad thing when you think about a decentralized business network and the ability to move around and work on different projects without that being highly hierarchical. Okay? When you get that, then you already are thinking about business structure in a way that at least accepts the inherent structural conflicts and dissonances and exciting collisions that exist in a business structure. Also, when you think about hiring an employee, how would you hire an employee? Would you make group dynamic? Would you make this? Would you make that? Well, if they're not a manager, maybe. But think about this question. The sixth house is also your pet, okay? You know, in a job interview, people say, what kind of a pet would you be? It's also you as a pet, by the way. And you think about your ascendant, or you think about your sun, or you think about your moon. So you're going to answer something that's probably one of these are ruled by your moon, your sun, your ascendant, maybe your midheaven. Well, better questions to ask what kind of pet you have, or what kind of pet you're thinking to adopt. And what's your relation with it? Now, in this question, let's say the person tells you, well, I have a turtle, which I do, I have a turtle. You have a turtle, okay? What you're after is not how is this person caring for the turtle. Yes, it is their sixth house. It is true that the way that they care about the turtle reveals about can they care for something. Yeah, this is them in the sixth house. But you also are thinking about the turtle, because this is not them caring for your project. Your project is not their sixth house, nor is the way that they care for your project. This is the way that they care for their service for others, which you can say, this would be my project. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Not always. They care for their pet. Get what I'm saying? It also allows you to have a working connection with them, because your project is not their pet, it is your pet. They're the doggy seater. But you're also concerned about the pet, because this is how you care for them. This is how they are going to be needing care, is that pet. Okay. So let's say, go back to the example with the golden retriever. They're Pisces ascendant. They have a Leo sixth house. I tell you, well, I got a golden retriever. Okay. They are the golden retriever. Don't expect them to clean after themselves. They will follow you to the bathroom. They will miss you when you're not around. They're very good performative artists. They're a great talent in a show. Don't accept them to do accounting. They need the spotlight. Okay? All these things you know about golden retrievers, they need a lot of training before they become a nanny dog. And if they come to you with the CV, they're gonna have a list of previous employers that adore them, but probably couldn't keep up with it. And still miss them. Okay? Now, are you up to caring for a golden retriever? Now, this is the thing. Let's say you are a Pisces ascendant. Leo is your 6th house. Whenever you're going to want to hire someone to work for you, even as a contractor, they're still working for you. Okay, the service is for you, on your project, you're going to run into a golden retriever. If you go to work as an employee or even as a contractor, speaking from experience here, you're a golden retriever. Okay? If you're looking for an accountant because you want to focus on your shine zone, that's basically being a golden retriever, don't look for the problem with there's no problem with your employee. You are engineered to have a natal chart whose employee, pet, you as an employee, and healthcare provider is a golden retriever. There's nothing wrong with golden retrievers. Don't judge them for being golden retrievers. Don't wish you had a bird. Don't wish you had an owl. When you're doing your 6th-year golden retriever, when you're hiring somebody to be your 6th, they're golden retriever. Even if you buy a cat, it's a golden. I have a cat that follows me to the bathroom. The way we met was very fascinating. One day in the middle of the night, some cat creature begins to purr at my lap while I was sleeping. Very willingly consensual. We have been close ever since. At first I thought it was a boy. Then it turned out it has no balls and has the facial structure of a female. I'm still not sure if I'm assuming their gender. They walk with me to the bathroom, they wake up with me, they sleep with me, they fall asleep on me, they stand on my chest. And when I pet them, they lie on my chest with the legs spread like, straight ahead in the sphinx structure, and then they yawn. The minute they yawn, I just lose it. Okay? They're a cat. But they're very much like a golden retriever. So, the thing is that if you get that, you stop blaming your employees for being who they are. And you start looking for partnering up to create projects with people that can provide for you on an equity level, not a pet level. If you want to be satisfied with the people you hire. Okay? And the only way that that's going to work otherwise is if you liked doing something, you've grown out of it to do another thing. And now for as long as your employee is still excited about the first thing that you're excited to do, this is a good relation where you both know that they will eventually move forward to some other thing that they like to do. If you think about the work structure today, hardly any business operates in a way that's in alignment with the inherent structure of the business. You open a business like this, you're not in a blue ocean, you're in a blue galaxy. And you get this for free. Why do you get this for free? Because my second house is Aries. And the second house, Aries, for me, has a motto that I go by. An investment is a donation, and a donation is an investment. The more business is structured like that for me, the easier for me to do my job. Whether it's from the 6th house, from the 10th house, or from the 2nd house, which is the next house I'm going to talk about. And the 2nd house is how you make your living, how you make your money, resources, using a skill, how you study your skill or how you get skilled or what your skill is, and how you spend your money. And funnily enough, your sense of value, which is highly connected to your skill and how you make your money, how you spend that money. Having that in Aries, Aries is also identity, the I am. So you get an extra importance on how I make my money, how I spend my money, and who I am. So for your 2nd house, this is the money you make out of your skill, whichever 2nd house you have. Now the 2nd to the 6th is a trine. It is 2nd to the 10th is a trine. The 2nd follows the 1st. Okay, so you are a foundation upon which you build your skill and your expenses. And so the trine relations between the 2nd house, the 6th, and the 10th allow you to progress at work. Okay, you learn a skill, you begin to give service, 6th house, you begin to charge money for that service, 2nd house. That begins to be your career, 10th house. Okay, your boss, you're already presenting yourself publicly, saying, I am a writer, I am an astrologer. Now this house is rather simple, and it indirectly affects both your 10th house and your 6th house. And when you think about the relation between the first and these houses, therein lies the problem. Okay, your ascendant is you. Your 10th house is your signature in the world. It's related to your scale, but still it has a tension with you and your life path, unless the planets ruling these 10th and first are in harmonious relations with them, within them. Okay, your 10th house is your career. It's also you as a boss. I'm running this show. Okay, your 2nd house is the skill on the basis of which you got that career. And the 6th house is your service to the world. Based on what you can say, I am a professional title. Okay, I gave service to the world. It got so good that I could charge money for this service. Now I am a astrologer. But your 1st house in conjuncts that 6th house. You need to sacrifice your one-to-one partnerships to tend to the 6th house. You need to sacrifice one-to-one conversations, tend to the 6th house. And you need to sacrifice enmities to tend to the 6th house, but the 6th house is also a house of open enemies. Now your scale assists you when you come to serve the world. But your 1st house makes a sacrifice when it's in the 6th. Now, when you walk your doggy and then clean up after them, you get more fit. Okay? Still, there's a sacrifice that you make, and whatever you do in the 6th house determines your health. Because it's your health. It's also determining the birth of a baby, labor. This, I think, Catherine Urban, that talks about the 6th house as a house of labor, not only the 8th house. Labor. So if you want to facilitate good birth, there is only so much you can sacrifice. That's important to understand. You can't just take any job. You can't just work at any job. You can't just let yourself be determined by the requirements of your boss, your workplace, your market. It has to coincide with the act of birth giving every day. Because your ability to be of service is coinciding with the ability to birth a baby with joy and ease. Alongside the, oh, I have to clean my poop, oh, my, I'm pooping while I'm giving birth, oh, my, those inconveniences. But the big picture, if you look at the aura, What you need to see there is a holistic picture of well-being when you come to to be of service to the world. Can't give from an empty cup. Okay? Yes, you might be exhausted, you might be this, you might be that, but you've birthed something. That's your sixth. That's your sixth. This is why slavery is so inherently traumatic to the entire human race and the ecosystem. Because your health is the sixth house, is your employees. If your employees are not healthy, how do you expect to be? And it can creep up on people because it can be invisible as well. You think about shoes. Most of the shoes today, now there's a bit of a movement of trying to find what shoes are good for our feet. But most of the shoes would have these crunched up toes that would historically symbolize the owner of whether the slaves or the farmers or the peasants or whatnot. The owner of employees. Why? The slaves back then, but employees. Why? Because they did not have to walk a lot, so they could wear fashionable shoes. And they crunched up their toes, which is your eyesight, your hearing, your shoulders, your head, your thyroid, all crunched up. You're not very healthy. Okay? And you don't have to work hard. You just make sure that the shoes, fashionable as they may be, are not harming your body to show class. Because it does affect your health. Okay, if you think about Beyonce. Okay? So, yes, there is the word sacrifice. Yes, of course you sacrifice when you walk the doggy every day. Of course you sacrifice when in the morning walk, your doggy got smeared on poop and now you're both gonna have to take a shower, but you can't take it together. Of course, it's a sacrifice. But the big picture, when you relax your gaze, has to be the picture of well-being. It's the picture of well-being. That you're doing, this is the sixth. There is a sacrifice to be made. But it's not something that you can't live with, like literally. However, between the skill, how you make your money, how you spend your money, what you like doing. Okay, it's not just the hobby, the fifth house. It's what you're good at. What you get the joy of doing for a living. The word joy, you say the word joy is the fifth house. The word joy has to be at every house. It's true. There are various types. There's a Saturnian joy that is, I finished doing all my to-do list and I'm so proud of myself. So it's just pride. It's a subtle sense of joy in taking pride in your achievements. Then there's the second house, which is quite close to it. You're doing something you're good at, and you're getting paid for that, and you get to spend money on something that you value. You invest money on something that you value. Wow. Okay. That is in alignment with your 6th house. That is in alignment with your 10th house. But you are not in alignment with any of this except for the 2nd. Okay? You get lulled in by, I really like looking into charts. They must spend so much time looking into charts. I might just ask some people if I can look into their charts. Oh, now people asking me if I can look into their charts. They like what I'm saying. Should I go for it? Should I begin to charge for it? Whoa, they're paying so much money and they're still liking me. That's awesome. Okay, now I got a business to run. That's the part where your dog smears on poop. That's the part where the dog smears on poop. And there are a lot of things depending on what planets you have, what houses they are ruling, where the planets that are ruling these houses are. You get lulled in by the allure of the 2nd. I like doing that. Oh God, I'm good at that. I'm getting good at that. Maybe I can offer some help someplace. Maybe I can get hired to do that. Oh, maybe I should be doing that as a contractor. Well, I kind of like getting paid to do that. I guess I am an astrologer. I guess I am a podcaster, content creator, whatnot. Oh, I guess I am a writer. Okay. And from there is the thing called running a business. If we understand the inherent tensions, or we understand that to get the people to do and to do other things while you're focusing on your shine zone is something that you do not by hiring them as employees, but by partnering up with them in a partnership type that allows you both a lot of independence and that it's still possible to have your employees when they are doing something like an apprenticeship for something that you really have had your shine time of doing and you are okay with allowing that shine to be theirs right now while you are shining in other ways. That's coming from an empty cup. Oh, the moon is so red. So red in Libra. No, the moon is in Gemini. So red. Lovely. When you get that, then you get that you can have joy and satisfaction from work and career and have help doing what you love doing. It takes a certain structure for people to be happy in it. If you try to satisfy your employees and lure them in with things that you think are going to buy their consent to do something that they're not supposed to be doing if they are to be healthy, vibrant, living a beautiful, meaningful life, they're not your slaves. They are you when you were younger. Now we open for a world that has labor with well-being, and that expresses and emphasizes itself in child birthing. And I'll leave you with that.